Duperas y Duperas. Today on Doop by the River, the Philadelphia Union keep rolling along in the Eastern Conference, this time against the energy drink team from North Jersey. We're going to recap what happened last Saturday as we move ahead to this upcoming Saturday, back at home against the U.S. Open Cup champs, Orlando City. We'll break it all down. Don't you dare go anywhere because you do not want to miss this episode of Doop by the River. And let's get this started, guys. Done! Doop by the River
doesn't do anything well. There is not one.
I'm sorry. There was no creativity.
As a Union fan, I take that all day.
Another DP. We need to go get Mario Balotelli. And that is right. Welcome, everyone, to Doop by the River, the show where we follow everything Philadelphia Union, and we are brought to you by Philly Sports Network. Before we dive into today's episode of Doop by the River, real quick, welcome everybody, whether you're here on YouTube or on Twitch, or if you are listening to this wherever you stream podcasts, welcome and thank you for listening on in. Just a quick heads up, quick reminder, if do us a solid, hit the like button, and of course, subscribe for all of your live viewings of Doop by the River. And of course, you can find us wherever you stream podcasts, ladies and gentlemen. Find us under Doop by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome today my expert in duping alongside with me, talking all things Union. Please welcome Justin, sporting serotonin starting goalkeeper, Friedberg. I like that. What's up, Justin? How you feeling, man?
Pretty good. You know, it's been. I feel like it's been a while, even though it was only a week ago.
Labor Day, bro.
Yeah, what a weekend it was. A
lot of fun, man.
A lot of fun, and a great game to be at, to talk about, and we got a little an interesting matchup this weekend. So a lot of interesting things to break down.
Oh boy, do we! And I'm excited to talk about that one just a little bit later. We'll definitely get to that. I guess we got to start off with the latest reports. Justin, I don't know if you heard the latest, but apparently, as far as the Chelsea opening job, it looks like Jim is in the running for it. Jim Curtin's in the run. Wait, hold on, I got the source right. It is Bro Trust Me is the source right there. So that could very well happen. Could you imagine Jim alongside there, man? In the names of Chelsea, that'd be pretty funny. But we got to start off with a joke, Justin. I mean, everyone's just so high on it. We got to start with a joke off here today, man. Jimmy boy.
Yeah, that'd be an interesting one. They didn't exactly let the ink dry on Tuchel's pink slip before Potter came running down from Brighton with a signed contract.
Oh my god, dude. That is absolutely. I would love to see Jimmy Boy all like with the Mauricio Sarri like tracksuit on the sideline with his little joints in his hands. Be freaking great.
He'd have the freshest kicks in the Premier League, no doubt.
Damn straight, brother. Damn straight. So let me ask you, man. So you were, before we get into, obviously we'll get into the match, man. But how was your time up there? Obviously you were up in North Jersey. Well, how was Matt? We got to see the Matt and the Justin crossover that we needed.
Yeah, it was a good day. We drove up to Hamilton train station, myself and a couple friends, met up with a friend of the pod, Heather, and she picked us up, and we drove the rest of the way up to the stadium, went over to the Viking Army tailgate. We had some friends, and Matt was tailgating right, like literally right over there, and so after a little bit of playing Where's Waldo and trying to spot each other,
it's always fun.
He runs over and gives me the biggest hug on the planet, and it was genuinely nice to finally get to see this that face in person after
I know, right?
So many times behind the screen, and we were sitting and talking and have a few drinks and just kind of chilling before the game, and met up after the game, and despite the result, it was he was like it was just fun to honestly, and I'm sure you heard us on the TV. Man, I had no voice after the game.
I can only imagine you, Justin.
Oh God, I was screaming all game. It was absolutely intense, but man, and the first away win I've ever seen. So it's it's been a while, but man, what a what a game, absolutely.
I do want to give a little bit of a round of applause, and I want to commend all the members of not only Sons of Ben, but just Union fans in general that took the escapade up north to North Jersey to watch that match. If you were watching this on TV, or in my case on your cell phone, the crowd was absolutely wild. We always make the joke, obviously, that the Red Bull, they struggle filling up their arena, but we didn't struggle filling up our supporter section. I'm assuming we because it was pretty packed. I'm sure we overflowed a little bit, Justin.
Yeah, they were. So it was weird. We were up in like 220, and the way that section works is like you walk up and they have this kind of similar to it kind of, you have seats and stands all around the entrances to the up to the concourses, and some of the like there were a couple of the Red Bulls like security, most of they were just basically like, we're like, hey, it is what it is, just be cool, and we won't have problems. And they're like, and like I said, we were loud, but we're soccer fans, not any louder. And although there was one the people working for the team that like I think just genuinely didn't like us, and was like the
Why
weirdest. I don't like I like she I don't know. She just had this face, this attitude, and we were and I was talking with my friend. I'm like, she's like I don't think she likes us, and I'm like.
I know those admins definitely don't like Union fans, especially in the mentions. They've clapped back at me before too.
Some of the security guards, like one security guard, like every time we were doing some of the chants, she was dancing along, and we looked at her and we were like, like some of them were enjoying it, like they, we were having a good time, like we weren't, we were rowdy, we weren't unruly, we were, we were having an absolute blast. And if you saw on Instagram, you saw that photo of me,
dude, looking good.
Is it? Yeah, that was a while. That was a while. Like I said, that was like in mid chant, and I saw the camera, and I, and like I was like, it was perfect timing, and it was wild. It was a wild day. Like I think I got back. We got back to the train station at like 11:30. And the night didn't even end from there. I think I went with my friends over to Park Tavern for all the Palmyra people.
Hey now,
know what's up. Went over there, had a couple of drinks. I think I get home till like 1:30. And thank God it was a holiday weekend, man. It was a fun time.
Living like a real footballer.
Yeah, yeah. We're gonna say I was a proper lad.
This man's partying with Jamie Tott. Well, Justin, who probably was having a good time this past weekend? Mr. Matt Doyle and just the MLS in general. I wanted to talk about this real quick. So I'm sure we all saw these MLS Power Rankings that were put out there. No surprise. I think, I'll be honest, I think I would put like 1A, 1B, Hune Mukhtar and Sebastian Drusi with what they've been doing this year. And obviously, you guys have heard us talk about Gazak being involved in the conversation, which it looked like from the MLS or the MLS.com people that, yeah, they could agree. Manuel Reynoso, whatever.
That one I like.
Probably not this year.
I have a tough justification for him in the top 5, to be honest.
All right. Well, if you have a justification for that, well, how do you feel about, listen, Andre Blake? Okay, that's fine. But El Brujo, and you know me, I'm a big El Brujo guy, but I don't understand this. I don't understand the logic, Justin. Someone needs to explain to me, because if the logic was that Daniel Gazdag is not the most, or is not the best player on the club, then what is El Brujo doing there? Like, El Brujo's really good, right? And he's a big part of what we do. But even like Jim has shown that you put McGlynn, you put Leon Flock, and you're still a pretty good team, maybe even better. So I really need a good explanation for this, bro. Like, what?
So I was confused about it too until I went on to MLSsoccer.com and they had an article where they explain, and and they even said like, no, I'm sure if most fans didn't expect this, but apparently
Let's give me analytics.
Brujo got the bump from some of the people, from the guys that on extra time, and these stats. So per FBref, El Brujo entered the week in the 92nd percentile in tackles plus interceptions per 90 among midfielders. He's in the 92nd percentile as well for the percentage of dribblers he tackles per 90. Basically saying you can't get by him. Like, getting by El Brujo is a tough task. And I think, listen, he's not going to garner any type, but in terms of like all the guys like, Jesus Ferreira and Brandon Vazquez have started to stagnate a little. I mean, Ferreira did have a goal, but Vazquez it started to dry up a little. The players that were in it have kind of fallen off, and as the Union are doing well, they say you can cannibalize votes from Gazdag, but at the end of the day, I think outside of, I would say, Gazdag, Brujo, Andre are easily, up probably your top three players. Carranza could be.
I would put Carranza over El Brujo, if I'm being honest.
I think it's. I could understand that, but I think from a, MVP also is like their importance. And you look at each of the people on that outside of the Union players. I mean, without Mukhtar and Driussi, Nashville and Austin are not where they are at all.
Yeah. 100%.
And I think the trio of Gazdag, Brujo, and Andre, without them, I find a hard time seeing the Union being as dominant as they are. And I know we've been back and forth about El Brujo, but and I've had my moments where it's like, man, he can be tough, but it's like, you also just gotta go, he's just so good. Like, it is like, despite his faults, he is probably arguably the best six in the league, if not top three easily. He is indispensable. We talk about Leon at that position, and Leon provides a little bit more, coverage. But I mean, the stats don't lie. You're not getting by Brujo one way or another. And at the end of the day, for a player in that position, that's, absolutely important. And Andre Blake is Andre Blake. There's a very, very good chance he could win his third Goalkeeper of the Year award. It's, what can you say? I mean, we'll talk about it, but Andre Blake is having to do a little less this year, but at the same time, he is still amazing enough, enough to make the saves when it matters.
All right, well, let's get to him, man, because he had another great match on Saturday. This team in general had another great match on Saturday. Union Red Bull in Red Bull Arena. I mean, it's been a weird feeling between these two, but there's still a little disdain for myself when I see that terrible logo of that energy drink. But you look at this matchup, a 2-0 victory for the Union, and you look at the lineups, and Jim decided to change things up. And where I thought that the rotation would come on Wednesday, the rotation kind of came on the Saturday against the Red Bull instead of Atlanta on Wednesday. So main changes in the lineup, you still had Blake in goal, Wagner, Ellie Iglesias, but you saw Nathan Harriel in for Olivier Bizo. That was something we also talked about in last week's preview. And then in the midfield, a little bit of a shift. Obviously, Alejandro Bedoya got a little bit of rest. So you got Jack McGlynn on that side. You got Matty Rial on the other side, Leon Flock at the 6, Daniel Gazak at the tip of the diamond. You had Michael Ua and Corey Burke as your starting forwards, and that was the lineup that Jim rolled with. Now, through the first half, I would say the Red Bull did a solid job of controlling the pace of the match. They had a couple opportunities on quick transitions, but nothing really to scare Andre Blake, as we do know that is pretty tough to do. But you head into the second half. Don't know what pep talk Jim gave. Obviously, we know that he gives us a pep talk. We're all probably running through a damn wall, let's be honest. But 3 minutes into the second half, great play by a great turnover, great play by Jack McGlynn to just kind of volley a ball to himself essentially, and a great pass to who else but Michael Uwa, and Uwa with a great low shot gets a little bit help from the post, and it's a 1-0 match here for the Union bright and early in the second half. And then you move to the 74th minute when again another turnover, this time in the own end of the Red Bull, and then of course a perfect display of our big three. Carranza to Uwa, Uwa to Carranza, Carranza to Gazdag, and Gazdag finishes it off with a nice second goal of the match, 2-0 lead, and that would do it. Obviously, we had the Drew Yearwood situation in injury time, which we'll get to in just a second. But Justin, I just kind of want to start off with this. This to me was a big statement win. Not only did you beat your rival, which obviously, that's always the big part. And obviously you did a good job of, out shouting the fans of the Red Bull, but the Red Bull were in the top echelon of the Eastern Conference. I feel like we've been drawing against, besides the playoffs, obviously, but you've been drawing against these guys for way too long. And typically this match is always like a 1-1, 0-0 type of match. You put up 2 on these guys. And this was a tight match in the first. And you found that one goal, that Michael Uwa goal really changed to me the momentum of the match, man. Dude, this was definitely a statement win.
Yeah, it's one of those wins where in prior years, I don't know if it's that 0-0, it's that 1-1. It's a tough when you're like, man, we could have won. This team, again, just built differently. The first half, Red Bull had more of the ball, but outside of the save that Andre Blake had to make, it didn't really feel like Red Bull really threatened the Union net. Like there were some counterattacks, but the Union were snuffing it out whenever it happened. It seemed like they would have control of it whenever it broke down, and the Red Bull didn't seem to have a lot else going forward. And the few chances the Union did have, they were starting to really push, and that led to that turnover, and Jack McGlynn with a nice little touch over John Tolkien. He takes a touch, and on his off foot threads an absolutely perfect pass into Mikel Uwa, who just does enough just to get it by Coronel, off the inside of the post, 1-0. And it was like, okay, now the Union can really get in control. They can play their game. And it forced Red Bull to be on the front foot. And they were being sloppy. Outside of that save Andre Blake had to make on the set piece, Red Bull were really leaving themselves open. And on the second goal, you cannot play with the ball with a team that can press the way the Union do. And Nealis is, dilly-dallying on the ball, and Carranza with a hard challenge, clean, but that thing, Nealis comes up and bam, that ball is out, right to Uwa. Uwa turns, boom, bing bang, and Gazdag is played in, and all he needs is one touch to settle himself, and he looks up, and as they said on the broadcast, near post you fire it high, far post you're firing that thing low, and that's an honest thing. You fire it low to the corner, and Daniel Gazdag continuing his hot streak. And yeah, Ali Bedoya, Ali came to Jim and said and Jim said in his post-game press conference that he had some stuff personally that he didn't feel he was mentally ready for a full 90 that game, and it's big. I think it's a big, that's a leadership. That is a veteran quality move to say, I don't want to be detrimental to my team.
Right.
I am going to, and he did play. He played about 30 minutes or so in the second half.
It's weird to see him doing that.
And so, like, I think it is. And then El Brujo with Matty Real, that was a more of a last minute thing. I think they said his ribs were he was still feeling a little tightness, and they didn't want to push it. But again, it was a great overall game from the Union. And
Blonde Brujo, by the way, Justin.
Yeah, and overall, it was. I mean, that was an amazing game.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I feel like when I watch the Red Bull, I really do like the squad that they do have together. I just wonder, like, what if they did have like a number 9? Would this game be different? Because besides the I really felt like on some of those counterattacks they weren't very precise. Those passes were just not as sharp. But they do have like Luquinhos and Lewis Morgan. Definitely were doing a good job of trying to stretch out both, just the back line in general. I always just wonder, like, what if they did have a legit number 9, like Elias Manuel, like solid, but you can't, dude. False 9 it's not going to work against us. It's just more than likely not going to. Speed that both Elliot Glutz have is ridiculous, man.
Yeah, like, it's weird. You feel like it would work, but at the same time, with the way that the Red Bull system works, it's like a false 9 can work, but again, with the Union playing against the Union, it typically doesn't work. So, like, it's a weird catch-22. Like, it'll work in their system, but it necessarily doesn't work against teams like the Union. So I don't know if I mean, listen, the number 9 would help, absolutely. I mean, we talked about with Matt, number 9. Since Bradley Wright Phillips, number 9 has been a major issue for this team, and having a number 9 does help. And I think you would need one that could work well. It would probably have to be in a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3. Someone would probably with Lewis Morgan and probably Manuel probably playing behind. You would need someone who could hold up and also play off, similarly to peak Joseph Martinez. Someone that can kind of interchange and also get in behind. And that's a tough ask for this system. I mean, we've seen it. Klamala, if he's not moody or if he's not in form, he's a detriment. Barlow is becoming off the bench. Like, their options are limited, and I think it's telling. So I think it could help, but again, the way the Union have been playing, it might not matter.
Yeah, man. It very well might. I think just the talent and the experience as well really separates the Union from the Red Bull. What do you think it's like being Drew Yearwood these days, huh? He didn't have a good match either. That's just to begin with. And obviously you top that off with him just being, just young and dumb and just kicking a ball out of frustration in the stands. He's hitting a kid. He's making girls bleed through the lip. Like, dude, oh my God.
Yeah, like, when that happened, I mean, it was a dead ball foul, and he was frustrated, and he takes a moment, and he rails the ball into the stands. He hits that girl in the face, and it ricocheted and hit that kid. And I talked to Matt after the game. Her lip had been split open. She was still at the medical tent, and I get it. He was remorseful and wanted to apologize. Obviously, the fan had every right to kind of say, no, like, go away. You did this. We don't want to talk to you. And he got the yellow for the kick, and he got the second yellow for going into the stands. And I don't think he's a bad guy. I think what he did was absolutely stupid.
Right.
It was reckless. It was endangering the safety of fans. And for those fans who say, oh, well, when you're a soccer game, you sign up for this. Not at midfield, not when it's a dead ball situation. That is never okay, no matter what. And never. I mean, he's getting the one game for the 2 yellows. I have to imagine potentially at minimum 2 games are added on to this. I mean, we just saw Lucas Cavallini get 3 games for the stomp on the back of Alex Neal's neck. If
Kaku
that's
got
worth
how many?
additional 3 on top of the red card suspension. So if that's worth an additional 3 on top of that, this one with the 2 yellows is only a 1. I'd have to imagine there potentially is 2 games, potentially more. I would be surprised if it's only just the single game. And then we also don't know what the Red Bulls are going to do internally. I mean, they've said they're going to talk, address it and try to make amend, but who knows what's going to happen? So we don't know. We've seen what teams can do with handling their own internal discipline. I mean, Joseph Martinez just got suspended for a game for the incident that happened in the locker room after the loss to Portland, and according to from the article I read, this the team let a lot slide because of his status, and this was a culmination of multiple events, and so I think we don't know what the Red Bull are going to do with the situation. I know Yearwood's contract, I believe, may be up.
Oh,
and he's been in and out of the lineup. So if you're Red Bull, do you look at this and go, you really haven't been playing? Are you worth the money? We may not need you.
Especially Red Bull. We know how much they love to spend money, right? But it is definitely a terrible situation. And of course, we all, hope that she's doing well. That probably was not a fun afternoon or night, I should say. But before we move on to Orlando, Andre Blake, that's all I'm going to say. Just Andre Blake.
Like I said, Andre Blake, the man, you can honestly, it should be on a t-shirt, put that name in permanent marker. I say it every pod. It's true. Andre Blake. I mean, listen, we remember the years where Andre Blake had to stand on his head to even get the team a draw. And these days, the Union have a much better defense. They have a much better attack. You just need him to occasionally make a big save, because occasionally there will be those moments. The Union defense isn't perfect. It's pretty damn good. It's not perfect. And when you need to call upon your goalie to make a ridiculous save, and he does that with regularity, it just goes to show, man, he is a luxury to have, but I would not want it any other way.
Dude, just put the stats outside the Sub already, man. He's freaking spectacular.
It's just gonna be a brick wall.
It's let's name the stadium after him. Let's just call it Andre Blake Stadium or Park.
Well, come on, the supporters gate will just be the Andre Blake gate.
I'm so in, man. No, but dude, that save, it wasn't that first half. Where again, just that he did it again in Atlanta. He just stuck his hand out and he just boom. The Luquinhas kind of back. It was basically almost the face, it was upper chest face. But yeah, that one I believe it was an early second half. It was on that. It wasn't even on the initial free kick. The ball was headed back in, and it was headed down, and. Yeah, I believe Manuel got the touch, and Andre Blake, just as he's sliding across, just sticks the arm out and swats it. And it's that level. And once, and of course the play was ended up being offside on the follow-up attempt. But, you saw, his teammates just going nuts. And it's they know how important he is. And to have that kind of a goalie playing behind you as a center back, as a defender, you just have to go, this makes my job. And you feel you got to play carefree. You can focus on your game and not have to worry about, whether or not your goalie's going to make the save, because he's making saves like that. And it's okay, I think he's going to make the save. That's got to make the attack so frustrated as well, man. Because the Red Bull had their chances, not clear good chances, but obviously all two. When you got Andre Blake, I mean, you got to be on your freaking game. So it should be a lot of fun. But it should be.
Come on, we as we were saying, don't worry about a thing. because every little thing's going to be all right. With Andre Blake, don't got to worry.
Oh man, this team makes me feel like that for sure. All these guys. But I mean, I'm curious to see what Saturday's going to bring because obviously you got two really good goalkeepers. I'm not sure who's going to show up for Orlando, but you know what, Justin? We can find out. You know why? Because this week to preview or this match on Saturday against Orlando, we are blessed to have with us Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. So we've had Atlanta United Fan TV, now
Oh,
Orlando City Fan TV. I hope there's no fights on this one, but Zach, what's going on, man? Welcome on Duke by the River, brother.
hey, I appreciate the invite.
Nah, man, dude. So I want to say this. So for context, Justin. So I'm scrolling through TikTok as I do from time to time, and I spot this TikTok from Zach's account, the Orlando City Fan TV, and it is literally the great content like you see over in like the Premier League content creators. This dude's outside interviewing fans, and I'm like, this is it. This is what the MLS needs. I love it, man. So Zach, first off, thank you so much for coming on it, man. We really do appreciate it. But talk to us a little bit about yourself and about Orlando City Fan TV for those here in Philadelphia who are not familiar.
You kind of described it basically exactly how we conceptualize it. It's exactly what Arsenal Fan TV made popular. So for us to be able to go out there and get the fans' voices, while I speak on voices, I apologize for mine because I yelled way too much yesterday. But
dude, you don't have to apologize for that one.
Yeah, it's basically just that. We're literally just a group of young guys who just love the club. And I have a little bit of experience in media, a little bit of my background. And so I was like, you know what, let's use this and give the Orlando City fans something that we kind of deserve because we've never truly had like I want to say fan-driven media. Like everybody that's Orlando City media is a fan, but
Right.
it's like uncensored kind of, you can say whatever you want. We're not partnered with a club. So like if we have a bad game, we can be like, yeah, we had a bad game and not worry about repercussions and stuff. So yeah, it's basically where we are.
You can curse out the FO. You can say sack, but
Hey, not gonna say we've done it, but yeah, hey, here we are.
I'm sure you have, Zach. I'm sure you have, man. No, dude, seriously, you guys are doing a really good job. I think that's so important. For me in the beginning, like I started doing Union content in 2019, and I was doing a little bit something similar myself, just myself with a GoPro, just going around people. Yo, come on over here. Let's talk about the match. That's how I kind of met Justin as well. COVID kind of did change things. Obviously, it's a little bit tough, with people not sure if people are okay with it or not. So you kind of just steer away from it. Kind of just talk about, what it's like, man. Obviously, just from behind the scenes, setting up stand, trying to get fans. What is that process like for you?
Yeah, it's cool. The only downside is we have to leave usually in like the 75th to go out and get the camera from the car and set up. So like in the Open Cup matches, apart from last night, and maybe the last match, the Red Bulls match. No, we left early in the Red Bulls match because it was 5-1. So that was kind of nice.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's it sucks in that aspect. But then once people come out there, it's kind of all worth it. So
for sure, man.
It's the downside of missing maybe penalties, which we had 2 sets of in the Open Cup. So we missed that. Our friend just FaceTimes us and we watch it on the terrible Wi-Fi. But yeah, it's a downside. But then in the end, it's really all worth it.
Dude, absolutely, man. It is definitely all worth it. So Zach, obviously, I'm sure Orlando's still partying. Just kind of take us behind the scenes. What has it been like down there? What did it feel like? Let's talk about last night's match.
Oh, first half, I was crying in the club. I was so ready. I was like, Orlando City, we win 4 straight matches. We're making our way kind of back into a home playoff spot. And then we have a USL side in the Open Cup final. It was a perfect setup to pull in Orlando City, be a disappointment.
So confidence was high.
Oh, yeah, 100%. Yeah. But then we pulled it out in the second half. Facundo Torres is doing Facundo Torres things. Possibly the greatest player in Orlando City history, and he's not even been here for a whole season. It's crazy. So the stadium in the second half, after the first goal, crazy. Then 5 minutes later, we get the pen, and we're up 2-0. Then Benji Michel scores a third, puts it away in the 96th. Pretty much after that, it was a massive party. That stadium has not rocked so loud and so long. It was just a great feeling to have.
There wasn't like any sort of like look. I mean, I'm we don't need to sugarcoat anything. I mean, obviously Orlando City really doesn't have much of a history. There wasn't any like sentiment like, it might not happen again this year. Like, was there any type of resentment there from the
What do you
fans?
mean? That might not happen in the end, like winning a
Like
trophy.
just feeling like just because of the luck of Orlando, we might not win the US. We might be the team that loses to USL whatsoever.
Yeah, there's always that feeling. Honestly, with us, there's just not. You don't have that reassurance, like you guys were just saying 10, 15 minutes ago. You're like, this team makes me feel confident, no matter the situation. You have Andre Blake back there. With us, it's just like we're Orlando City. Anything can happen any given time, so we really don't know. And then Sacramento came out and played really well, so it could have went either way, but luckily it happened going 3-0 our way.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. So, I mean, I guess we do have to ask. I mean, obviously, we do know some of the big guns over in Orlando, but with playing such such an important match in the middle of the week, what should we expect from the side as far as player fitness or any starters that might be out for Saturday's match?
To be honest, I don't really think there's going to be any full starters out. We may see
Okay.
Robin Janssen come back from a little knock that he had. We really expected to see him play maybe a half or maybe a full Open Cup final last night, but we started Rodrigo Schlegel at center back. So I think maybe Oscar was being aware of us having a game this weekend, and then leaving Robin for that because we're playing you guys. You're top of the East. We need possibly our best team out there. We're in a good run. Other than that, we may see a little bit of rest, but I think these guys are playing off a high of winning a trophy. You still probably have the adrenaline running through you Saturday. So we may see a starting 11 play for 45 minutes and then one or two subs at half or vice versa.
Yeah, man. I'm even thinking like, I mean, every time these two teams face off, it's always a tough battle. Like I feel like when we play you guys, it's almost like when we play like Red Bull or NYCFC, it's always like a low scoring game. There was always some chippiness. We had controversy. Remember the last match?
Oh,
The
don't
guys.
remind me. Yeah.
So it is always going to be tough. So, I mean, down south, like in Orlando, like how do they like look at the Union as far as when we always have to face off against each other?
To be honest, I don't really think there's any animosity.
Okay.
Obviously, we're not like close distance wise geographically.
Right.
And there's never like it's chippy, but it's chippy because it's a good match. It's not because there's hatred. As to where Miami, there's just like it's just we hate you, so it doesn't matter. But yeah, it's always a close game. And there's the one game like 5-6 years ago now. I believe it was the end of the season, and you guys beat us 6-1. So every time we play, there's kind of like that little thought of, oh yeah, okay, we lost 6-1 to you guys. But other than that, it's just been good matches.
Justin, can you pinpoint that match? I saw your face.
Yeah.
I see your brain
doesn't
working.
exactly ring too many bells, but every time we play Orlando at home, typically towards the end of the season, it tends to be a bit high scoring because they end up getting us at the right time for us, and at this moment in time, it's the way that the offense is clicking. It's not really going to be that. I mean, you guys aren't DC or Houston
Swept by DC this year
or
so.
Colorado.
I remember that.
Yeah, I found the match. I have football pulled up. You had an Ilsinho brace, a Fafa Pikal brace, and a CJ Sapong brace.
Yes, that's when
Oh,
Fafa broke
shit,
out the bachata.
I do remember that game. Oh my god, yeah.
That was in Orlando.
That was in Philly.
That was in
No,
Philly?
it was home. Yeah, the home games have always been the higher scoring games for us.
Okay. I do. So one of my favorite goals, and now that we've seen a couple good ones over the past couple of years with the Union, but the Tranquilo Barnetta one, the free kick.
Oh, that for me is probably one of my favorite goals, and only because 2016 was the first year I got season tickets, and I got it after the first game. So I was I was in my seats right behind the net, and I love Joe Bendick, and I love him on our team now. But Bendick face of watching that ball hit the crossbar, bounce down, and bounce up.
Now's your third string.
Still, I watch it on occasion. Just go like, it still lives. It still lives in my head of top moments I've seen at that stadium.
That was one of those funny moments for sure, man. It was a great goal too for by Mr. Tranquilo Barnetta. Justin, I wanted to ask you, man. Look, we're riding pretty high right now, right? And they typically do play really well at home, but it is Orlando, and it was always chippy. How you feeling going into this matchup?
As I've been saying in pretty much every home game, I still feel really good. I mean, the Super Park is a fortress now. We haven't lost all year at home. We are past the point, earlier in the season we were getting all those draws, and that was kind of a tough point in the season. But the biggest difference between that is the way that the offense has been clicking. I mean, our front three. I've been saying this at this point since they really started getting going in April. They had the potential to be one of the best front threes in the league, and I think now with their goal contributions, I think they really are the best front three in the league. Daniel Gazdag is having an insane season. He has scored, in 4 straight games. He is at 18 goals. Mikel Ua has scored in back-to-back games, is at 12. Julian Carranza is right up there at 13. It's a dangerous front three. And again, against Red Bull, we didn't start El Brujo. We didn't start Ali. And we put some of the kids out there, and we still put on a solid performance. And the way the teams are playing, especially at home, especially the last month or so at home, even with with the confidence that Orlando is bringing in that Open Cup, the other side of that is, one, home games for teams are much different than away games. I mean, we all agree that home teams in this league, the records show that the home teams have the advantage. But also, I watched that game, and in the first half, if Sacramento Republic had a better attack, there's a few chances that could be put in the back of the net. I think it took Orlando a little bit to get into that game, and against the Union, I don't think you're going to be able to remain unscathed with some of the spacing that could be left in behind, especially with the way this attack's been. I don't think they're going to get that luxury. So again, at home, like I said, 9 times out of 10, I'm going to back the Union. This is absolutely one of those 9 times.
Yeah, when I look at Orlando, they obviously have a lot of speed and they like to dictate the pace of the match. I am very curious though. I feel like Erkan Kara, obviously someone we were heavily linked with in the offseason. He's someone I look at and could be one of those number 9s in this league that could be a serious difference maker. And that's one guy that I'm curious to watch here in this match after US Open Cup. Zach, how's Erkan Kara been as of late? We haven't watched him since I think since US Open Cup.
Okay, so to basically sum this up, I'm going to ask you guys a question. We like to play this game on our podcast.
Okay.
We go over under on his touches, what you think he had in that match. So I'm going to set the line at a solid 18.5 touches. Do you think he had over or under 18 touches in last night's match?
I know it is definitely under. If I remember correctly, I think it was like 2.
9, basically 2. It was 9, but that is how if he's going to be, or if he had a good match or not. If this man he could go anywhere from 7 touches to 21. I can't remember the last time he had above 21 matches, but he has the ability to make 1 or 2 of those touches a goal. He's not going to be on the ball. He doesn't fully drop into the midfield and play. He's like a full-on number 9, get your head on the ball and put it in the back of the net. Other than that, he's just meh. His touch isn't the greatest. Passing isn't fantastic. Even his finishing, he's missed so many sitters. It's not even funny. So for him to have 9
Casper,
goals,
so the Casper curse,
basically, yeah, yeah. It's just off and on. He scored a pen. I'm blanking on who we last played before Sacramento. Seattle. He scored that pen, but it was atrocious. It was a terrible pen, and Fry honestly should have saved it. So It just depends.
Wow, man, that's interesting. Okay, all right. Justin, I wanted to. All right, so obviously, Union fans got a little excited. A potential CCL berth on Saturday, but JT kind of gave us a little bit of clarification. I'm gonna throw this to you. So the Union cannot clinch CCL, correct?
No, so yeah, so trust me, when they when I love our boy Mike Thomas, but when he posted the 1 point, it was with a again without what is easier to explain, qualifying for Champions League or allocation money. The answer is C, none of the above, because in the East right now, so Montreal can't get it through. The way that it's set up, they could still get it because they're changing things. They could get it because they're only 8 points back. You could get it for finishing first in the East. New York Red Bull officially can't get it because of the points back. New York City is the only team that can technically, but they're basically out of it. So at this point, it's the Union keeping Montreal at bay, and the only other team besides LAFC that would be in contention would be Austin. And the way the Union are playing, I think you're going to be able to keep Austin at bay. So if you at least finish with second most points in the league, you've guaranteed yourself a spot. So right now you can't clinch, but it's only a matter of time at this point.
Justin, I want to travel like Guatemala or Jamaica or something. Give me something, dude. Come on.
Yeah, listen, those games, especially even the game against Club America, where we were dominated by the Club America fans, and they travel well. But honestly, it was fun. Like the CCL run last year was absolutely killer, and if with the roster we have, and listen, I know we're gonna lose a couple players this offseason, but man, if we can keep most of this roster, especially with the deep we are, I would love to see Paxton and Jack McGlynn go to Costa Rica, or Guatemala, and just shithouse their way to a victory. We
already did it.
Hey, we did it against Saprissa, man. We shithoused our way to a win. That should
still
not
see Kai Wagner doing a 360 in the air.
Oh my, yeah, exactly. Like that kind of the dark arts, the shithousery that the Union, if you talk to Atlanta fans, we are apparently the only team that does shithousery and time wasting and all that.
We invented
it. Listen, those are the moments that those are what create the the lore of certain players, and that helped. I think that's why people I think were sad to see Sergio go, because Sergio was the king of shithousing in those games, especially at Atlanta away when we were crushing them. It was he was making a meal out of everything, but yeah, no, that'd be wild. But again, I think it's a matter of time with the way the Union are playing. As Jim said, supporter shield is still important, and the fact that they are still in it, because again, LAFC finally getting their first victory after 3 straight losses, and their schedule doesn't get any easier because they still have Portland, they still have Nashville, they have Houston again. Like it just because Houston fired their coach, they lost to Houston earlier. Portland's playing well; they are desperate to get into the playoffs. Nashville is starting to play well. At this point now, Mukhtar is really getting on. I think this is the Union's, it's the Union's shot to lose for another, potentially another shield.
We shall see, man. Philadelphia, we were the founding of this country. We founded cheesesteaks, tasty cakes, and of course, time wasting in the beautiful sport of soccer. You already know us, Elena. Zach, before we go into lineups predictions, anything else you want to let us know about this Orlando side?
Facundo, 5 straight man of the match performances. That is basically what we're riding on. He is finally coming to his own. Like at the beginning of the season, we were saying our attacks just gotta have time to click, and then we beat the Galaxy 1-0 in LA off of a car assist to Facundo, and we're like, oh, we're finally here. And then we did in Orlando City. But now Facundo, like, there's no stopping him. It's crazy. So that's like, if I had a one to watch, it's obviously Facundo Torres.
Okay, all right. We'll keep an eye out for him. We'll see. So he's a right wing, right?
He's a right wing, but he started to play through the middle a little bit more. We brought Mauricio Pereira back to play like playing more of an 8 role.
Oh, okay.
So we have him to kind of spur out the passes, and then Facundo in the middle. He's gotten passes from our left back Joao Moutinho, takes a touch and just hits it far post. But you guys are talking Andre Blake up, so maybe he makes a Superman save out to his left, and maybe he can't score. I don't know.
And we also got you talk about taking that touch. We got El Brujo. I don't know if Torres is going to have a time to take that touch before his legs are taken out from under him.
I counter you with Cesar Araujo. Yeah.
I like that. I like that, man. Should be fun. And you know, Zach, what I love about this matchup, if you like good goalkeeping, this is it.
Yep.
It's Pedro and Andre. They're two of the best in this league, and it's you're probably gonna see some good, really fun saves in this match. So we'll see what that entails. But gentlemen, let's get into some lineups and predictions for Saturday. Zach, since you are a guest, what could the lineup be looking like Saturday for Orlando?
Well, obviously we're gonna go with Pedro Gallese in goal. He's been along with Andre Blake. Say it again.
Permanent. It's like the same thing we say on the show, like permanent marker. We always do Andre Blake, so I'm assuming you guys always do Pedro Gallese.
Yeah, pretty much. And then our back line could consist of the guy I just mentioned, Joao Moutinho, left back, and then the permanent marker center back that we're gonna have in that game is Antonio Carlos, and then like I mentioned earlier, Robin Janssen. Who knows what Oscar Pereira is gonna do? If he plays him 45 minutes in the second half, or he starts and we play the full 90. Then our right back, honestly, it could be a mix of either Ruan, who's just a speedster, or Kyle Smith. And then in the midfield, if we play our normal 4-2-3-1, it's going to be Cesar Araujo and Mauricio Pereira, who just dropped back into that number 8 role. Then we got the left mid, Cam, and right in that same order. I might give it to Jake Mulroney, give him like a first half, and then switch it up. The number 10 spot, you keep Facundo in there. That man doesn't need a rest. He's young. He's got energy. Blah blah blah. Right mid. We're giving it to Benji Michel. Okay. He scored 96 minute again the Open Cup final. Let him ride that little wave of confidence. And up top, let's go with the semi-USMNT national Nicholas Gioacchini.
Okay. It sounds like you kind of missed Daryl DK there, Zach.
There's a reason why I'm not starting Arian Gara. There's a massive reason. It's kind of sad, but you know.
I understand, man. Hey, listen, we lived through Casper here. We get it. We get it.
Yeah.
Justin, I mean, Jim's kind of hasn't been that predictable lately. So what do you think is going to happen Saturday?
I mean, as we say, you say, permanent marker, Andre Blake.
Permanent marker.
He is having one of his best seasons, and again, he has not had to do as much as he has needed to in past seasons. I mean, again, I said he has stolen games in prior years. He still steals games, but it's making the saves, when he has called upon, not that he's forced to make these saves. Your back line, Kai Wagner, I would say probably one of the best left backs, if not the best left back in the league at this time, up there with, I think at this point, 13 assists, which is crazy for the numbers. I mean, the way he gets forward is good, and also his ability to get back is amazing. I would say the best center back pairing in the league, and one of them too, will probably win Defender of the Year, and Jakob Glesnes and Jake Elliott. I mean, those two together both have great passing range. Both have the ability to, get up and back, and
both also pay for their bar tabs.
Yeah.
I love this shithousery on Atlanta. It all comes back.
But if Jakob Glesnes has the ball, you'll definitely hear that shoot. Even if he's 80 yards from the net, you'll hear shoot running around the TV broadcast. Right back, it's kind of been up in the air. Nate played because Olivier potentially had a little tightness, but also was giving him rest, as Jim said, regardless if there had been maybe potential knock, that they were going to switch back to Nate. I think Olivier plays this game, and I think the reason why is despite Orlando's attack, Jim has not been afraid for teams that he senses, the ability to get in behind is where you send Olivier. And if he can get in behind, if him or Kai, and that's the thing, you have to deal with both sides. And even if Nate is in, Nate's got quickness. You have to deal with, either outside back, and that even discussing the midfield. In the midfield, I said El Brujo is probably going to get the start again, and he is arguably probably one of the top sixes in the league. Again, as we said, 92nd percentile in tackles on attackers, which basically saying you're not getting by him. I mean, that's he is everything Portland loves in Diego Chara and more. He's got a pretty decent passing range. I know we've talked about his heavy touches, but he does have that ability. On the left hand side, I think Ale gets his spot back after a little bit of a rest for Red Bull. The other spot in the diamond is tough because you could go with Leon if you want that that speed and freedom. I'm going to go with Jack McGlynn. I think Jack earned after his play and especially his assist for the Uwa goal. I think he has been tough to drop. It is him or Leon. I think if Leon is in, then McGlynn comes on as a sub or vice versa. I think Jack is the reason why we say that probably by the end of next season, Jack could be sold. He has been playing ridiculous, and that assist in the Red Bull game was with his weak foot, and that was still a pretty good pass. And then the front three, I mean, you're not going to change it. Daniel Gazdag is in the best form going into the playoffs now. Julian Carranza is we got to thank Miami for spending $6 million and giving him to us for only $500.
Zach, I appreciate this
because it is genuinely amazing that they chose Gonzalo Higuain over this man.
But he played for Juventus
because they were playing, and it's what happens when you play a player in the wrong position, and when you play him in the right position in a system that actually allows him to thrive. It's amazing what happens. And Mikel Uwa, after we talked about it early in the season with the visa issues, with the injury early in that game against Montreal, it's taken him a little bit and you saw in April and May he was starting to get his fitness in. He hasn't played a full 90, but I also think at this point, the way the game's been going, you don't need him to, so you've been keeping him a bit healthier. But despite that fact, he is still scored double-digit goals. He is hit, that front three is the front three that you've been looking for since I've been a Union fan, since the very beginning. Like, we have not had this kind of attack. We have tripled at this point in the season. We are the latest team to triple the amount of goals scored compared to goals against. That is unheard of in the modern age of soccer. LAFC did it 20 games into a season. The fact that we are at 30 games into the season and we have done that, I mean, like I said, this team feels different, and I love it, and especially at home. I'll be in my usual spot in the river end. I cannot wait for this game. It'll be a good game.
Absolutely. All right, let's get to the prediction. So, Zach, give us your prediction for Saturday. But since this is a Union podcast, what we need from you is a key for the Union to beat Orlando.
Which one do you want first?
Either or, you can choose.
Then let's go for the key for you guys to beat us. It is possibly the only weakness in Cesar Araujo's game is his passing. He will win the ball back. He'll do the dirty work. He won't get recognized for it, but it'll be the best player on the pitch. The only thing is finding that breakout pass. He can't do that. So if you guys pressure him, it's not like Edouard Mendy for Chelsea where he'll give up goals. But it's unfortunately I'm a Chelsea fan, so I got to admit that. But like that's about his only weakness. It's not really that bad, but I believe if you guys don't let us play in the midfield, then what are we going to do?
That's a good point. Good point. All right. And your prediction?
I want to be hopeful because we've won 5 in a row, but you guys are so clear of almost the whole league at this point. And that front three is so dangerous. And yes, thank you for stealing basically $5.5 million plus the player from Miami. That is fantastic business. So I'm just going to kind of be semi-hopeful, but also realistic and go for. I'm going 1-1 draw. Why not?
Okay. Yeah. So like, I felt like that, but again, like the lingering of just winning a U.S. Open Cup and just like that's the one thing that would hold me back. But I would feel the same way if it was any other type of circumstance. But Justin, give us your prediction and the key for the Union.
I'll do Zach. I'll start with my key first. I think the key, and we saw it. I saw it a bit, at least in the first half, in the Open Cup final, and it's something that has been a perennial problem, and that the outside backs have been able to cover. Is splitting the center backs and getting behind. Antonio Carlos is a great center back, but not a pacey one. And with Robin Janssen is one that gets stuck in, but has also gotten beaten in behind. If that pairing is together, the way the Union have been playing, and with Mikhail Uwa, being the one to go over the top, and also you have your outside backs flying, it's going to be relentless all game. But I think the center backs, the key is going to be not getting stretched. And if the Orlando back line gets stretched, that absolutely works in the Union's favor, because whenever they create disarray in the back line, chances galore. And unlike the Union, team that that was earlier in the season, you're a team now that is possession and that can counter. And despite that, playing as a possession team, the Union still do like to give the opponent the ball, and they like to force on those passes. And if Cesar Araujo is gonna be where wonky with passes, the Union are going to they're going to pounce on those chances, and that is create havoc on the back line, and that's where the front three will take advantage. Again, at home, it is tough to pick against this team. I think it is going to be a tough one, but at the same time, the Open Cup hangover, like I said, this regardless of win or loss, I felt like coming off of that high, it's gonna be a tough one to adjust back to the regular season, the first game. So I'm gonna go with a 3-1 Union victory. I think away, for Orlando, especially at Subaru Park, the way that this team has made this, that stadium a fortress. It is going to be loud, especially the way that the Union have been playing. It is going to be loud. It is going to be rocking. I just think there might be, especially depending if there's rotation, whether it be halftime substitutions or starting lineups. I just think that Open Cup hangover might be a little more than we're expecting. I typically don't go that kind of a scoreline, but I'm feeling a positive. I'm feeling a 3-1 victory.
I don't think we trounce Orlando. I can't see it. Like I know we haven't had opponents coming in here that we've trounced that have been like as good as Orlando. I just don't see us putting up 3 or 4 or 5 goals up on a club like Orlando.
Don't give me too much hope. That's not okay.
Yeah, come on. We did that with Atlanta, and they got they got thoroughly embarrassed.
We've been winning like on average like 5 goals to nothing. Like it's
Stupid, yeah.
crazy out there, man.
Yeah.
Zach, so obviously it's a away game for you guys. So where do you watch the match during the away ones?
Oh, it really depends. It's either just sitting in my house or downtown Orlando's 20 minutes away. So go down there and watch the game somewhere.
Is that where you'll be on Saturday?
Who knows? I might have had a little too much alcohol on last night. So we
get
gotta figure it out. Yeah.
So Zach is also trying to reel for Saturday too. Just like we
Fun
love
with
it, man.
the champagne celebrations that happen in the locker room are happening, just not champagne with us.
It's the champagne of beer. That's what
there you go. Yeah.
That's what they were using.
It's a good the high life, the champagne
There you
of beer.
go.
Yes.
Zach, well, listen, we'll throw this out to you, man. And dude, we would love to see you up here, man, with all your equipment, man. But dude, best of luck on Saturday. It was truly a pleasure and an honor to have you. You're doing such a great job. So please continue. We definitely need more Zachs and Orlando City Fan TVs in the MLS. So before we let you go, plug away. Where can people find Orlando City Fan TV?
We are on Twitter at OCFanTV22. Instagram is just at OCFanTV. Same with the TikTok. It's at OCFanTV. On YouTube, just search Orlando City Fan TV, and we'll be there. I think that's pretty much all we're at right now.
Awesome
So
stuff,
I appreciate
man.
that. Yeah.
Absolutely, man. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. That is going to do it for another episode of Duke by the River. We really appreciate you guys tuning on in. Do us a solid if you guys enjoyed today's episode. Hit that like button. Subscribe for more live viewings of Duke by the River. And, of course, you can find us wherever you stream podcasts. Find us under Duke by the River podcast. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Zach from Orlando City Fan TV. That is Justin sporting serotonin starting goalkeeper Friedberg. Of course, I'm your boy, El Parcero Philly, and we're telling you guys to Dupe on. Beat Orlando.